Try it again. Are you unmuted?
Does that help?
That helps. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. You see yourself in the picture there?
I made it.
It's good. Hopefully Travis will slip in here a little bit.
I'm not going to sit in front of him again.
No, we've got it all rearranged. I think nobody's having to duck or has a giant head behind them or whatever. We got it all.
I'm worried about having a giant head in front of him. I mean, I know I got a big old head.
You can get self-conscious about this stuff sometimes, whatever. That's the way it is. All right. I can't take your hands off it.
It's time for Coach's Corner, sponsored by Horizon Construction. The official Tiger football coaches show with Hub Network commentary, Travis Peary, James Caulfield, and Bruce Vogt, featuring head coach Rusty Morgan on the Hub Network. And now here's your host, Joe Kennedy.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Coach's Corner, and sponsored by Horizon Construction, of course. And this is the third show, and every show we hope it gets a little bit better as we kind of work out some of the bugs as we go along. And I don't know if the bugs ever quit coming. We just try to keep working through it. So we want to bring you up to speed on a couple of things in Cushing Tiger Athletics this week. Cross country had something notable this week. A former camera person for the Hub Network, Amaya Grant, took first place in the Bethany tournament. Right there she is. And she ran really well, as long as with some other Tigers that placed in that competition. And so congratulations to Amaya. And in the cross country, she was the top pick. She made it in first there in the Bethany meet. So I know she's worked really hard over her years as in high school, and this senior year she was working all summer, running everywhere she goes. She runs everywhere she goes, and so it was good to see her get some recognition for that in the Bethany meet, and great luck to her all the rest of the way through the season for cross country. So we wish her the best as she moves along there. So we'll check in with her a little bit later and get some more information on what's going on with her. So all right, right here in the studio we have a couple of course, Coach Morgan over here. Thank you for coming, Coach Morgan. And QB John Elagos right here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. A little nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, it's nothing like a linebacker coming out at you. I mean, you can get rid of the ball anytime. We got a ball if you feel like you need to throw it. Go ahead. I don't know who you throw it to, but anyway, good to have you in studio today. So, well, Coach, let's kind of go back through and revisit the Berry Hill game real quick, and then we'll bring in Bruce here in just a minute and get his take on it as well. But kind of give us the how it went for you guys at Berry Hill.
Well, the number one thing I think about is we started faster than we did the previous week, and that was kind of an emphasis all week during practice. But we come out and Jason Edwards did a good job kicking all night, and our kickoff coverage units were good.
Yes.
So field position right off the bat was in our favor, and we come out and get a stop defensively, and whenever you do that, and then your offense drives down the field and you score a touchdown, you're up 7-0 on the road against a tough opponent. I mean, you set yourself up for success. And
absolutely.
That's number one thing, that starting off on that foot, and then kind of played complementary football all night long.
Well, it's a big adjustment from the week before because you were playing the field position game there. You kind of made that adjustment. And special teams, I think this week obviously was a compliment to everything you were doing out there with Berry Hill. And but yeah, you guys dominated as far as field position goes all night long, really.
And that was something, we talked about last week on the show, that's something that personally I thought about, that we've got to, you got to set yourself up for success in those situations. And like I said, Coach Moore does a good job with our special teams. Jason kicked well all night long. When you're giving them the ball on the 25, 30-yard line, and on a few of those we had the opportunity to go down and recover those kicks.
Well, those I was going to say, a couple of them looked like long onsides, like dropping it right in the middle. Where was that a planned thing for you guys to try to do that?
He does a good job placing the ball, and where they were lined up, we thought, Coach Moore looked at it all week, and we thought we might have an opportunity to run down there and get on a couple, but the way it worked out, they were able to fall on them barely. But anyway, we were covering well and felt good. If they did catch the ball in the air, we were going to tackle them anyway. So.
Yeah.
And then the way our defense played, and then John leading our offense over there, it was just a good night. We kind of complemented all three phases of the ball.
Absolutely, and I mean it makes it a lot easier when you have the opportunity to even kind of dominate on special teams. Yeah. We'll see some of that later on in the show here too, but great job all game, in special teams and all the way throughout defense and offense, everything. John, you're playing both ways down here. How's that going for you? What's that like? Are you getting tired in the game? Is it good? Are you invigorated with the game? What's it like?
Later on, I get a little bit tired later in the game, but early on, I like it. I like being able to voice around everybody. I like being the leader on both sides. Make sure everybody sees what I see.
Absolutely. And is it different moving from running back up to quarterback? I mean, you're kind of seeing things a little bit differently, looking at the defense a little bit differently. What's that like for you?
It's for sure a difference. I just gotta go into the spot. It's for sure a difference, though.
Is it a little faster from that point of view, especially under center a little bit? You're right up there close, and you're looking at all those guys, looking in the eyes almost when they're ready to come and get you, right?
There's not a lot of turnaround. He's on. I mean, he can get a shot of water sometimes, but he's either taking the snap on offense, or he's leading it on defense too, communicating on the back end and doing a lot. But he does an excellent job for us.
Kind of hoping for a long run back on special teams, so you get a little more of a break, I guess. Some of those times, don't you? Punt something, yeah. So that's good. Well, Bruce, let's bring you in here, Bruce, a little bit. And Bruce Vogt's down there. You got the bottom square on the Hollywood squares there, Bruce. We'll get Travis in here in a little bit. But Bruce, what was your take on the game?
Yeah, it looks like I'm the only one on the screen. Coach, first of all, congratulations on your win for you and your team, and John, great victory for you too. First of all, I'd like to address the defense. The defense has been pretty much outstanding the last 3 games, but I really thought they stepped it up a lot, and notably Tucker Lang.
Absolutely. Counting stats throughout the weekend, Coach Rockwell counts our defensive stats, and looking at Tucker's, on Saturday morning, he ended up with 11 tackles. He had 2 forced fumbles. Dropped an interception. There was an opportunity for an interception there, but he was all over the field. Actually recovered a fumble as well. Tucker is a guy who every time he steps on the field, he's getting better and better, playing more physical football and doing a really good job for us. And like you said, very proud of that defensive unit right now. They're playing very opportunistic football. We recovered 3 fumbles the other night, and that's a huge testament to John and those guys flying around on the back end. I think our defensive line controls the line of scrimmage and does a good job there, makes the quarterback very uncomfortable. And, they have a really good, Berry Hill had a really good running attack, good running back, and I think for the most part we kind of corralled him, and that's just a testament to the way these guys play. Coach Fry and the defensive staff kind of drawing it all up all weekend and doing that, but they're playing a physical brand of football right now. It's good to see.
And you talk about that secondary, they did great. They got that 53-yard interception play, and I can't remember who that was.
Brock Bells.
Anyway, he sat back there. Yeah, he sat back there in the pocket. He watched that quarterback, and it just almost like he was in the huddle with the offense, because he knew exactly where that ball was going to be, and he had a great jump on it and made the best of it. The defense has been clicking on pretty much all cylinders this year, and I like that defensive line. They've been sealing up those gaps, not letting much up the middle. Your corners have been doing a great job taking out the short passes on the corners, and that secondary has just been outstanding. I agree with you, Coach.
For sure. It's good to see the communication. You know, you see it every day out of John on the back end and all those guys talking and seeing the formations. And, you know, you got Kellen Fry kind of lining up the front, and he's seeing formations quickly and getting everybody lined up. So lining up's not an issue. And, you know, whenever that's happening, you know, we've got Wyatt Heisler, you know, Connor Moreland, those guys doing their thing up front, and just to name a couple. But very proud of that unit and the way they're playing right now, for sure.
Let's go right on to the offense. A great job, John, this Friday. You looked very, very good back in the pocket. You were very poised. You were checking down your receivers and giving everybody a good look. That offensive line did a great job giving you the time that you needed. And your receivers were actually running great patterns. What do you think?
I agree with that. I mean, they were getting open, and they were moving with me when I scrambled. They were finding ways to get open, and they were blocking great. They helped the run game. They just helped everything. We were good. We were not one dimensional. We were two dimensional. Now we can run, we can throw, we can do it all.
And one thing to add, I want to add to that. You know, our offensive line. I think we talked the first week. Coach Chisholm talking about them being an experienced group for us and kind of leaning on them early on. And I think you go back and just look at the way, you know, they played the game Friday night. Pass protection was great. When anything did break down, you know, they're covering well on the back end or what. John was able to, you know, make some plays with his feet. And I just think, again, we complemented each other, you know, running, passing the ball, and did some good things on that side of the ball.
Well, that has to be comforting to you to know that you can scramble, get out of the pocket, use your feet if you need to. But really, I mean, you've done a pretty good job stepping up in the pocket at times and looking, like Bruce said, finding your receivers downfield, knowing where everybody's going to be. What's that been like for you?
It's been good. I like it. I'm just trusting my teammates more, finding ways to. I know they're going to be there. You know, first couple weeks I was a little nervous, didn't know if they were going to be where I thought they were going to be, but just like that game, it showed that I can trust them and they're going to be there.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's obviously just the first 3 games, and this we call preseason, if you want to call it preseason. You know, it's non-district stuff. Gets time to kind of work out all those bugs, and now you get to go at it. You know, where all of it comes down on the line here in district play. So, Bruce, what else do you have for the guests here?
And John did a great job being the field sergeant out there. I mean, or the general, if you will. You've got your players bought into it. They're playing well behind you and for you, and that was very evident in this Berry Hill game. Coach said earlier, you came out quick, you came out strong, and you made a statement. And that's for a lot of games, that is the key to the game, is to come out and make your dominance known.
Was that part of the plan coming back from that Perkins loss? Because again, that was a tough game all the way around, but still, you wanted to make a point when you came back on the field to this.
Oh yeah, and again, it's, you know, from my point of view, it's all thinking about field position and what we can do to give ourselves the best chance for success. And when you come out like we did and get that big stop against a good offense, a good quarterback, good running attack, and then we turn it over. You know, our defense's job is to give them the ball, give the offense the ball, and whenever they can kind of drive down the field and make plays. I thought we made plays offensively all night when we had to have them.
Sure.
And that's a testament to being mature, being a good teammate. You know, listening to leadership, listening to captains, listening to coaches, and I felt like they did a good job of that all night.
Well, when you talk about firing on all cylinders, like Bruce mentioned. That's offense, defense, and special teams. And
sure.
The defensive play that kind of really got everybody going was that Brock Bell's interception.
Yes.
There was there anything planned for that? We're going to take a look at it here while you're talking about it here just a little bit. We're going to show a little bit of that interception. Here it is. It was without any sound, but Brock very much caught that in stride right there, and he was off to the races and really did a good job of, like I said, spying the quarterback, reading his eyes, and knowing right. He looked like the intended receiver to me.
You bet.
And you can't beat that when a defensive back reads it that well, and then has some speed to get down the field and just almost punched it in. I thought he just missed it by just a yard or so, but
you know, Brock's one that had a little bit of an injury last year that kind of hampered his season, and it's obvious he gets better every time he takes the field. He's getting more and more comfortable and is a really good player. You know, looking at this last week in particular, he had 5 catches for 50 yards, and the one that sticks out is the one on the sideline from our sideline, it looked like it may be helmet to helmet. Regardless, it was a big hit.
Right.
And the first thing he does is show that he caught the ball, and that's his confidence coming through. He's a very, very tough kid, but had that interception that we just watched, and then also ran a kickoff return back for a touchdown.
Yeah, and that was an amazing return too. That's what I'm saying. You know, when everything's firing like that, and really you've got and whoever it is that's stepping up that week to make those plays and to make that happen. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
Next man up. So.
Absolutely, and you know, Brock's a very quiet kid, and you know, while we're sitting here talking about him and his stats and all that, he'll be the first. John's in the same boat. All those captains, those leaders, are the first ones to give credit to everybody else, and you know, that's the sign of a good team. And you know, he did have a great game along with others.
Absolutely. Well, as we always do, of course, we analyzed the game a little bit and came up with our offensive and defensive MVPs. And you know, we already have one sitting right here in the room with us. John, you were the offensive MVP for. We'll put these up on the screen as well. But you were the offensive MVP this week for the Tigers. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And of course, Brock Bell's defensively, you can't beat his play there and running that back. Sure. And everybody really, like Bruce was saying. I mean, the defenses have been playing, you know, lights out really in all 3 games, and they're just looking good this year. And it looks like a very, well, they say, you know, defense wins championships. I don't want to put you in that boat yet, but it's good to see a tough defense out there on the field every week.
Yes, you bet.
All right, Bruce, what else?
And John, this is a question to you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question for John, and that is, you got some great receivers out there. You have Matheson that, I mean, he's a vacuum. He'll bring in anything, and then he gets great yardage after the catch. Is he kind of your main go-to guy, or do you like to spread the wealth?
I like to spread the wealth. I can't get locked in because the defense will see that and they'll start making changes. And you know, coming into the season, Brady had good stats from last year, so they were already probably leaning on him, and he's coming off a little injury, so I knew I couldn't lock on him too much. I don't want to get him hurt, but all the receivers stepped up this game.
So when you're out there and you're
I have to.
Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. You've got a great team of receivers out there, and it would be a hard choice for me to come out of that huddle and know which one I really want to throw it to, because a great percentage of the time they've got great moves, they're open, and you have been able to find them pretty easily, and that's a tribute to you as well as your receivers. Let's talk a little bit about Roman Tucker. He seems to be getting better and better, and then finding those gaps better each week. What's your thoughts, John?
He has been. You know, last game I just told him, if there's not a hole in him, just put your head down, go get what you can. Go be a hard hitter, go get what you can. And yeah, that's what I told him. But he's been getting better, yes.
Well, anything in the passing game has been a little bit more over the middle too, which kind of holds those linebackers a little bit. Give him a little bit of an advantage in the running game, Coach. Roman
it does. You know, Roman's a guy who's played quarterback his whole life, and you know, is stepping into a little bit different role. And you know, I think he's starting to see things. He understands where the holes are supposed to be, and you know, he's a patient runner in between the tackles, and you know, he's starting to figure that out and be really good at that. And I thought it was obvious the other night. He's really good whenever we're tossing him the ball or getting him to the edge too. You know, he can really run. And I thought our edge blocking was good, better than it has been for the most part. And, you know, he was able to get some tough yards that way.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, on the offensive line, I mean, sometimes when you guys get a little bigger and more solid up front, you don't stretch quite as well as you used to, or the edge gets a little bit tougher. So, but you're seeing some improvement there, you're saying? Yeah,
absolutely. And it starts with our receivers. You know, that was another emphasis we had last week in practice. We came out and did some blocking drills on the edge to begin practice on Monday. And, you know, that showed on Friday night. And, you know, whenever we bring in tight ends or you know, we got Kellen Fry out there or Wyatt Heisler, you know, playing some tight end, or we call it yo back, and they're doing a good job of setting that edge as well.
Bruce?
Hey, And Coach, we've talked about the good things of the ball game. Now we can, for me, I can kind of go backwards a little bit and ask you this question, and it's a tough question, and but after the loss to Perkins, the tough loss, we've seen that there were some mistakes, some turnovers that were costly. How did you get your team, these Cushing Tigers, back on track? Because it was almost a night and day performance.
Yeah, it's tough anytime you're walking off of a field losing a football game. It really is, and you just get them to believe that, this is it's not going to have a bearing on how this season ends, and that's tough to get kids to believe. That's tough to make yourself believe a lot of times, and I think you believe what you emphasize and you do over and over and over. And I think we had a lot better week of practice. And showing up Monday, it was kind of I don't know. I don't want to say lighthearted. Kids were having fun on Monday at practice. They come up and watch Sunday film and kind of put it behind them. I thought we came out and had a lot better week of practice, and whenever you do that, it definitely shows on Friday night.
Well, that shows you a lot of maturity for moving on into the rest of the season, because that's what you want to see everybody develop. Yes, we can take a loss, and that's what you're hoping, is at least in the losses, in the things that are tougher for you, that you build a little character and the team gets a little stronger around those
things. I think that is my number one job, is win, lose, or draw. We've got to turn the page and we've got to move on. But it's not just me, or it's not just the coaching staff. It's the seniors, it's the captains, it's those guys getting everybody else to believe it and follow too. And I think we showed that we can definitely do that. And we obviously we're walking into district play 2-1 right now, and this is when they keep score every game and they all count and they all matter. But now is whenever you set your stage.
Well, as a senior, John, how's that as a player on the field? It's easy for us to say as spectators and even maybe coaches on the sideline, we need you to believe that, we want you to believe that, but what's that attitude in the locker room, and what's it mean when you guys take the field every week?
Man, the attitude is just, we got to do it. They set the bar last year. We got to keep it. We got to maintain it. You got to keep that poise. You got to keep going for it. You got to strive for it.
Is that how you guys are looking at it? I thought maybe you guys might come out with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder this year, because we want to prove ourselves too. But how do you guys look at that?
I don't know. I don't take it like that. I think we're just as good as them. I never thought there was a chip.
Gotcha.
If people don't like us, it's whatever. We're gonna go do what we do.
Well, there's nobody in Cushing that doesn't like
you.
I can tell you that. Yeah. But yes, other teams they're going to have a target on your back because of last year's record, and they're going to be every time they see Cushing show up on the schedule, they're going to be gunning for it, right? So last year, you're getting some playing time. You're getting a lot of playing time. How are you looking at that last year and coming in and doing that work? Sometimes as early as the second quarter, third quarter, and getting ready for this year. How did that help prepare you?
You say what?
How did that help? How did last year help prepare you?
Last year, just being around them in that environment, it was just a whole different game. Last year the bar was up there. I was right there with those guys, and I just caught over from their skill level. What they were seeing, I got to pick up and see, and I'm getting to share that wealth with the people I play with now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you share that with the underclassmen that are there. That's leadership, and this is not. Just because you're sitting here this week, I think the coach is talking about your leadership. He's mentioned it every week in here that it's really been a standout thing for the team, Coach. And I'm sure other leaders on the team the same way. And you guys are kind of bonding. And if nothing else, even you kind of coalesce around those losses, don't you? And kind of figure out what you need to do to come out the next week and make things right.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a broken record on this show, but it truly is that leadership finds a way to show throughout the week. And then it's obvious when you see it on Friday nights, but we're fortunate enough to get to see these guys grow up throughout the week and over the years, and there's a lot of leaders on this team. We did the captain selection, and it's always, I'm always interested to see how those votes go, and it's overwhelming whenever we have guys like John and Brady and those guys who are Lonnie, who are our captains, and the votes are, nobody left them off the list. Whenever that happens, you feel good about where the program's going. You feel good about what they're doing on a daily basis.
Absolutely, it's sinking down on all levels in that regard. Well, let's take a look before we get too far along here. I do want to take a look at who our Coops game ball goes to this week. That's Tucker Lang, wide receiver. Bruce, you have anything to add to that?
And sorry, Joe, I can barely hear the conversation, so
Sorry,
I'm just kind of. Whoops.
No problem, Bruce. I just wanted we just put Tucker
So
Lang up as the,
sorry about that.
that's all right. We just put Tucker Lang as a Coops Vast Lube game ball recipient. I just
Yeah.
want to know if you had any comments on Tucker's performance Friday.
Oh, and I mentioned him earlier. He just kind of morphed out of nowhere. I mean, this game was kind of maybe his turning point. That he a great little ball player in that defensive that backfield. He was very aggressive. He seemed to be wherever the ball was, and I liked watching him play. He played with a lot of intensity, and he hit hard. And he just seemed like he was just in tune with this game.
And we mention every week, Coach, of course, there's a lot of players that we could probably mention every week and people that we don't even see and stuff off the field that happens. But this week, Tucker stuck out to us as somebody that's really had a lot of heart on the field, and he was putting it all out there. And but others that you would probably mention along those lines this week. Do you have any others that you would throw in there?
I always think about the linemen who don't necessarily have the stats. And I thought our offensive line played a really good football game on Friday night. Even defensive linemen, you've got Wyatt Heisler, who teams are purposely running away from him, and he may not have the tackles and the stats and things like that yet, which he does. I'm not saying he doesn't make tackles, but teams are purposely game planning around him. So, he does an excellent job every time he's on the field. You look at Brady Matheson, scored 3 touchdowns Friday night.
Absolutely.
Kellen Fry and Carlos at linebacker spots, they continue to make tackle after tackle, and then it is tough to just separate one. But Tucker's one that stood out on the stat sheet, and he's getting better every time he takes the field. It's obvious. I mean, he's not just making tackles. He's knocking the ball out. He's recovering fumbles. He's doing a lot of different things.
It's confidence. You can see that in their play because they're not just going for the basics. I mean, they're trying to. I mean, they are doing everything they can to win these games and leave everything on the field.
And the biggest thing that I'm seeing is it's unselfish football. I mean, they're truly. John will be the first one to tell you whenever somebody else is making a play, he's celebrating probably harder than whenever he makes a play. I mean, and that's just you see that start to snowball, and I don't see any unselfishness right now, and that's a great thing.
Absolutely. When you know that somebody is game planning around somebody on your defensive line like that, I mean, what kind of adjustments do you think about there when you know that's going to happen?
Yeah, we kind of move those guys around. In this week, we talked about moving, maybe an easy switch just with our nose and tackle, flipping those guys. And this week, whenever they got into some passing situations, we actually moved Connor Moreland out to some defensive end, just try to move it around. But other teams and coaches and players are watching film just like we are, and whenever something's going right, like I feel like we're playing good football right now going into district, so we're not going to change a whole heck of a lot, and just kind of do it on the fly.
The bottom line is they're going to know just as much about you as you know about them, pretty much.
That's exactly right.
And it comes down to the play on the field, right?
For sure.
And the decisions you make and being football smart out there. I mean, John, for you, I mean, that's what I think probably made the difference for you this year, coming from running back down playing quarterback. You're analyzing that stuff at a different speed and completely differently. What's going through your head before snap?
Before snap, I'm just checking what the defense is, how they're lined up with our receivers, what the safeties are doing, and just what the linebackers are doing, what everybody's doing, and just trying to find the weakness to what they're doing, just find the key to what the play is.
Do you feel like that's standing out to you now that you can see holes? Hey, I know I'm going to be looking for this as soon as this play goes, and that just comes over time and experience, right?
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely. Now, you guys try to get all that in the first 3 games so that when you get to district play, maybe there's a little bit less of that, but there's always stuff to work on from the time you start till the last game you play. I mean, everything's in high gear, really.
Oh yeah, and Coach Chisholm, Coach Fry, all of our coaches I think do an excellent job on the weekend and throughout the week, kind of seeing what they think will work and what won't work, and adjusting here and there. But at the end of it, we still in individual drills we still tackle, we still throw and catch the ball. I mean, at the end of it, it comes down to protecting the ball, being physical tacklers, blocking aggressively, and doing those things.
Well, Coach, take us through now. There's a lot of preparation that goes into each game, each week. You have a routine that's kind of set in. every Saturday you kind of, I don't know what your Saturday routine is after a win or a loss. What are you guys doing on Saturday?
As coaches?
Yes.
So we get up there at about 7:30 on Saturday morning, and we're there until about 11 or noon, and we exchange film the night before with the next opponent, and we're up there, we're counting stats and doing that on Saturday morning, and then we, about, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, we flip over and we start watching our next opponent and kind of thinking game plan there, and then Saturdays, I told you my daughter's a cheerleader now, so my Saturdays are on the road with youth center football now, and which is awesome. Wouldn't trade that for anything. So we kind of have our Saturday afternoons, evenings with our families,
right.
And get up and we go to church every Sunday morning, and then we come back in and get going. Some coaches come in earlier, watch some film about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and we're watching film. Coach Chisholm and the offensive staff's watching offensive film at 2. And then leave from there and come here, and that's kind of it. So
yeah. Well, so now there's a whole routine through the week, Monday through Friday. So, but really from Saturday on until the next Friday night.
Yeah.
You've covered part of that trend. But Monday, when the players come back out on the field, what's the routine like that?
So the routine is we'll actually this is going to be our first full week with. Monday night we have a JV game here. Tuesday night we coach JV and our junior high, and we have a junior high game Tuesday, and then of course Friday nights. But you do have to adjust some practice time sometimes and do that because we're Coach Powell and Coach Rockwell, Coach Tarp, they're coaching our junior high. Yes. Coach Kennedy coaching our junior high, and then Coach Chisholm and Coach Fry coaching our freshmen. So whenever we're, for example, at Ponca City week 1, we have to cut practice short a little bit and do that. But I mean, we make it work. We adjust practice. We get in what we need to get in, and watch film with them when we can, and it seems like it's all packed in there pretty tight sometimes, but we get it done.
Absolutely. How much film are you watching each week, John? And what are you going back in there and kind of looking a little bit more detailed even at yourself? I'm sure the quarterback position is there's no lack of analysis or criticism, constructive criticism in that position. So what are you doing there to improve from your point of view?
Well, first I go back and watch the game from the week prior, and I'll just see what I could fix, what I could do better, make sure I'm on top of everything, and then I'll go to the new game, see it, just like I said earlier, look at the defense, look what they're doing, and try to find a weakness and look forward to target that for this Friday.
Are you kind of looking at some of those other quarterbacks that obviously was playing against that defense and what they did, and then thinking through, how can I make that happen with the tools that I have? Because the tools in everybody's tool chest are a little bit different, right? Yeah. So that's a difficult thing sometimes, I would think.
Yeah, it is.
The coach and you guys look at that offensively, you break all that down, and then how does that translate into a practice when the guys hit the field? I mean, man, to make those, we always talk about adjustments. How hard is it to make those adjustments? And you really got to have a system here, don't you?
You do, and we have a lot of guys who are part of our scout team each day at practice, and there's been a couple who have really stepped up on that scout team and are, getting some playing time on Friday nights now because of it. But that's what we do. We try to draw up and have a scout team that can run our opponent's plays, and I think we've had a pretty good few weeks of that with seeing, as best we can with those guys, getting a good look at what we're going to see Friday night.
Absolutely. Bruce, what do you have?
Again, of course, I can't. It's not coming too very clear here, so I'm not hearing a lot of the conversation. I just wanted to say, we're going into Miami. Most of our players, whether it was a curse or a blessing last year, all of our players, the first string, second string, the team got to play against Miami. So, are there any surprises or expectations from Miami that we're kind of getting set up for, or are we just going to play the game as it comes, just like we did at Berry Hill?
Yeah, we've, watching Miami's film over the weekend, and just you look at their scores, they're an improved football team for sure. Last year they were right there close to getting into the playoffs and doing that, but they're coming off of a shutout win at Dewey. They gave up 3 to Inola, so they're playing really good defense right now. They've got some guys coming back. They got 2 good running backs that are back from last year, and they're really big up front on the offensive line, and they kind of hang their hat on running the football, and they've done it well in the first 3 games. Really, they lost a close one to Grove But coming off of 2 big wins, I mean, we're gonna get set and have a great week of practice and be ready to go Friday night.
Absolutely. Well, so when you look at all that and you look at that, there's going to be more of a smash mouth form of football. It seems like it's going to be right up the gut kind of thing. And do you defensively, do you bring in some help there? Do you try to put? I noticed we were putting about 8 in the box at Berry Hill, but I mean, what are we thinking for Miami?
Yeah, it's based off of formation, and that's again Coach Fry and Coach Rockwell, Coach Tarp. They do an excellent job of Saturday and Sunday drawing all those on the board, getting everything how we're going to line up to this formation, and then Kellen Fry's doing a really good job at linebacker of seeing those formations. And with the 11 we have on the field, we have some heavy sets where we may bring an extra defensive lineman in. We've kind of gotten away from that a little bit and are able to adjust with the 11 on the field, but it's all based off of formation and the plays they've ran out of those formations and the films that we have of them. So getting lined up is the biggest part of that, and then kind of pinning your ears back and playing football.
Absolutely, flying to the ball, right?
Absolutely.
That never changes, right? John, how do you look at that being on the defensive side of the ball when everybody kind of lines up and you've studied that side of the ball too? You've looked at that film and you kind of said, hey, here we know we're going to the flat here. I know he's coming up the middle. I mean, how does that change your point of view back there in the secondary?
It's just making sure everybody's in the right spot, making sure everybody knows what they're doing. I even chime down to my linebackers, hey, you don't know what you're doing, all that, and are you gone? Are you blitzing? Are you staying? I just make sure everybody knows what they're doing.
And I mean, again, how you line up, does that tell you quite a bit about what you think Miami's going to do coming at you? You think there's going to be much air attack at all? Do you think?
I don't want to take anything away from the quarterback. They want to establish the run, but they've got a quarterback that's more than capable of throwing the football for sure. And he's involved in the running game as well. He's a junior coming back. Was their quarterback last year, and anyway, yeah, he's a good one. And they have some speed at the receiver positions and in the secondary. So, no, it's not a one-way game at all. I mean, they can do it all, and again, got some confidence.
Usually, with an athletic quarterback like that's part of the running game. There's a lot of misdirection, and they're trying to not really show you the ball. They're trying to kind of hide where that's going a little bit. And so, how are you taking on that from that point of view? Looking at that from the defensive side, John?
I'm just making sure we read the pullers. The pullers are taking where the play goes, and I mean, it's usually not more difficult than what it normally is.
So when you see that line start to move, unless they're going, and that's probably the speed you're talking about. I mean, they could do some misdirection around the other side.
And I think both sides of the ball they're pretty conventional. It's nothing they're good at what they do, but they haven't shown too many trick things or anything like that. It's pretty conventional football, but I think they take the approach we're going to get good at what we do and move forward with it. And they're definitely going to be a tough opponent.
A lot of that's kind of knowing the mentality of the coaching staff and the head coach there as well, and obviously you guys are probably in tune to that and understand what they're going to try to do and why they try to do it, right?
Sure, yeah.
What the motivation is. Bruce, what else do you have with these guys?
And Miami's going to come into town with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to play hard. They're going to try to seal the deal like we did up there last year. So we definitely have to be very cognizant of that. That they're going to come in and they're going to play hard. They're going to play to the bitter end, and they're going to be matched up against our defense, which I think it's going to be a great battle between the two. Their offense, our defense. I think our offense will do very well against them because right now our offense is so diverse. We've got the short pass, we've got the long pass capability, we've got the run capability, and John, you've got the capability of tucking and running yourself, and you do a great job at making those decisions back there. With you're only getting 3 or 4 seconds to make those decisions, and as a Berry Hill, you've really kind of mastered that very, very, very well. The other thing is, Coach, I want to put you on the. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bruce. I'm sorry.
The other thing, Coach, I want to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay.
Our offense is doing very well. Our defense is doing very well. Our special teams are coming up to speed. They're looking good themselves. I watched Edwards kick those extra points. They're just beautiful. I mean, they're just right down the middle, high, end over end. Does he have the field goal capabilities, and what would be his range?
He does, and he's a guy. We had some kicking tryouts about a month ago, and after going through those, he's kind of the guy that came to the forefront of that, and definitely can kick field goals. I'd say his range is probably in about I'd say 35 range right now, and a lot goes into that in the decision making whenever we're it's fourth and short down and we're on the goal line and it's a choice to kick a field goal or go for it. Have all the confidence in the world in our offense to go for it in those situations, but you think of it and you look at the score of the game, how things are going, the flow of it and all that, and you definitely don't want anything to get blocked, give them momentum on rushing one back, anything like that. But that's just my thinking. That's nothing from our protection. They do a good job. Jason is kicking the ball extremely well right now, and I think if we have a situation where we do need 3 points, he can definitely do it.
Those are always tough decisions, aren't they? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you're a hero if you make the right one, and you're a dog meat if you make the wrong one.
Yeah,
that's just the way it goes. It's tough. Those are tough.
It is.
And especially in high school.
But I got to tell you,
go ahead.
I got to tell you, he does have a good kick on them extra points. You can't get any better than that.
Yes, he does a good job.
And there's been a couple situations in previous years where we've wanted that field goal kicker, or we just need, or you run out of time. I mean, sometimes you get into that situation where there's just no time left, and a field goal will do it. That's what you need. And so even just to have that as a possibility, another
Sure.
arrow in your quiver a little bit, I mean, makes a big difference in your decision making, does it not?
And it's all again from my standpoint and talking to Coach Chisholm or Coach Fry on the sideline, thinking, hey, well, this is the situation we're in. And I've got a lot of confidence on that offensive side of the ball. So it's there, and believe me, I know that Jason's more than capable to do it if that's ever a situation that arises.
Sure, and it's good to have an experienced offensive line though too.
Yes.
That'll help you on those short yardage games situations because man, if you just need that couple of inches or another yard or whatever,
Yeah.
it's good to know that those guys can push some guys off the line and get you there.
Mm-hmm.
So and that is again unsung heroes down there in the trenches. I mean, doing all that hard work game after game after game, play after play, and it's what gives you guys the opportunity to get up there and even make plays down the field. So, what would you take away from the experience this year, John, leading this team, and what do you see for the rest of the year upcoming?
Man, I feel like it's just gonna be just like that game right there. I mean, we're just gonna keep doing it. We're gonna dominate everybody. That's what I expect. That's what I want. That's what I hold our standard to, and that's what I want the outcome to be in our favor.
Gotcha. Nobody on the schedule you're looking at going, I've got that one circled.
No, I'm not gonna say that now. No.
That's not good. Well, that's a good experience. That's a good experience answer, John. We put you to the test here today. So we asked you all those uncomfortable questions. I thought I'd try to put you on the spot. Coach said we'd do it 2 or 3 times, but we just got one out of there maybe. So, all right. Well, anybody else you want to mention? Anything you want to mention about this week coming up, Coach, and this game against Miami back at home?
No, it's just it's always nice to play home game, and it's starting district. It's an exciting time. It's going to be homecoming here Friday night. It's always good. Me personally being from here, getting to see some people I haven't seen in a while, and
absolutely,
it's just exciting to get going and playing in front of the best fans in the state.
Absolutely, the atmosphere is great, and I was saying the other week, it's almost kind of like we've almost got a enclosed stadium. I mean, almost now it kind of feels like with the concession down there on the end, it kind of wrapped around a little bit more than it ever has been. A little different than just being Odell Field the way it used to be back, 20, 30 years ago. It's a little bit different atmosphere, but it's a good atmosphere there at Cushing. And I guess you guys feed off of that more than anything else. You guys love that. Hear the fans come out.
Oh yeah, the student section, everything. The band, love it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's awesome to see, Coach. Thank you so much. Bruce, any final thoughts before we get ready to sign off here?
No, Coach, you've done a great job bringing these athletes along. Want to thank you for coming in. John Hilligoss, quarterback for the Cushing Tigers. Want to thank him for coming in. You're doing a great leadership job out there. Keep up the good work. I understand that, the leadership job is just not on the field. It's in practice and everyday life, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I think all of the community, you know, recognizes that and appreciates the fact that these guys are good guys on and off the field, and community supports that, and just keep doing what you're doing. And win or lose, you got a whole town behind you, you know, so you don't have to worry about that. So, Coach, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
John,
you.
thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
congratulations, MVP this
Thank you,
week.
thank you.
It's your second MVP. One as an offensive player, one as a defensive player. That's pretty awesome to say to your senior quarterback on the team. So, good luck this next week. We wish you all the best, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for watching Coach's Corner, sponsored by Horizon Construction. Reminding you, your home is our pride. Watch Coach's Corner with head coach Rusty Morgan next Sunday at 4 p.m.